It's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Will you all rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming this evening. This evening's meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by McCann and is also being broadcast by Verizon. With that, the first item on the agenda is unanticipated. Does any board member have anything under unanticipated? Seeing none. Anyone in the audience have anything under unanticipated? Okay. Yeah. Come on down. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please introduce yourselves.
I'm Peg Holzmer, and this is my partner in crime.
Ellie DeAngelis.
There it is.
Good partner.
We're here, I don't know if you got our invitations.
Just got it today.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Okay, and the Cultural Council, this is the first time we've done this in Middleborough, and it's a great event to see where the money from the Middleborough Arts Council goes to, and to bring it to the attention of people who don't even know that it exists. So.
Great. Thank you. You want to let it, is this by invitation only, or is the public invited?
No, the public is invited, and
You want to give the dates?
It's April 21st, 1 to 3. Public is definitely invited, yes. We just wanted to be sure that you got them and just make a little announcement about it.
And this is in the Middleborough Public Library in the...
It's going to be at the library.
Okay.
and with some light refreshments.
All right.
And the
some
grant
entertainment.
recipients will be there. So, you know, it's good to bring awareness to the fact that these people are getting funded. Massachusetts, I have just read that Massachusetts is the largest cultural council in the country, so that they give out the largest amount, not that it's so much, but overall for the whole state it's $2 million. So, you know, it does help to promote and make awareness for the arts.
And how important they are to the community, and it's always the first that gets cut. So if any of you gentlemen would like to come down and make your presence known in support, we'd really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the work you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one quick question.
Sure.
Children,
Oh, sure.
Sure.
my
Absolutely.
opportunity to get there increases greatly.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. Anyone else under unanticipated? Moving on to announcements and recognition. Chair doesn't have anything under announcements. Mr. Frawley, how are the fish doing?
That's exactly what I was going to talk about.
Here we go.
We had counts of over 600. That's 600 fish are running through the herring ladder in a 10 minute span. So if you like herring, or if you like anything, you should go down and see the herring run, because it's just absolutely fantastic. The water's running swift. It's just, it really is. It's a wonderful thing to see, and it happens every spring. So come on down.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. McKinnon.
I had the pleasure of touring the wastewater treatment plant with Alan on Saturday.
How'd that go?
It was very good. It was much better in April than it was in August, I must say. It's quite an operation. It's something I would recommend that you take a look at, because it's your tax money, and you should know where it's going. And, you know, it's important to keep that Nemasket River as clean as possible, and that's one of the ways we can do it. And there's a lot of work going to be done down at that plant, and you can see why it needs to be done when you tour the facility. So it was a good tour. Todd took us around to all the different locations in there, and there's some rather strange things going on down there, but it's okay. It's all good. It's all good.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for the report. Anyone else? Move down to the minutes. First up is the regular minutes for March 25th. Motion approved.
Second.
Motion approved.
We have a motion and a second to approve the regular minutes for March 25th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Then we have the executive minutes for March 25th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. We'll move on to April 1st. The regular minutes for April 1st.
Motion approved. Second.
We
Second.
have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. And then we have the executive minutes for... Someone.
April 1st.
Yes, we do. Executive minutes for April 1st.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Minutes are approved. Next item is I would entertain a motion, vote to authorize the chairman or his designee to sign warrants for the week ending April 5th.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Approved unanimously. Moving down to new business, moving right along. I understand it's a big basketball game tonight. Not that we would rush because of that. The first item is vote to approve to amend the FY10 Community Development Block Grant as presented and to authorize chairman to sign amendment form. Jane, you with us? Why don't you explain this to us, please?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm
Good
Jane Cudsey from the Office of Economic and Community Development. This evening, I'm requesting the board to approve an amendment to the 2010 CDBG block grant. The amendment would be for the use of program income funds to do a survey of the conditions of the buildings in the downtown. This survey is known by the DHCD as a slum and blight survey. No one likes that name, but that's what they call it. If we're able to do a survey of every building in the downtown and the streets and sidewalks, and we can show the DHCD that the town is in need of improvement, that 25% of the buildings are in fair to poor condition, or that there's quite a bit of vacancy, the DHCD will approve a designation that will allow us to apply for funds for infrastructure improvements in the downtown and possibly a sign and facade program in the future. So this will allow us to have different projects, to apply for different projects.
So this amendment spend the remaining funds left in this grant?
The actual grant funds have been spent down for quite a while. What these funds are program income funds. We've had housing rehab programs in 2002, 2005, and 2010. And when people pay back those funds are called program income. We've used quite a bit of program income funds available to continue with our housing rehab program. We've, I think, added an additional $32,000 for housing rehab. And we did have a couple of loans come back to us, so now we'd like to use those funds available. It'll be $12,000 to perform this survey.
Any other board member have any questions? What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next item on the agenda is vote to approve recommendation by town manager a cost of living increase for non-union personnel as presented. And I believe, Charlie, what you're recommending here is a 2% increase.
Correct. That is in line with what we budgeted for fiscal year 14, and it's been in all our forecasts throughout the year.
There's a list here of non-union personnel. Most of our employees in town belong to a union. There's about 10 employees who are not a member of a union.
Several of whom are part-time, so it's even fewer who are full-time.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Next is a vote to approve the use of roads for the second annual Nathan Hale 5K road race on November 10th, 2013. We have memos from, responses from the police department, they don't see any issues. Fire department, no issues with the race other than the usual keep access open for emergency vehicles. And I guess those were all the comments we had. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion approved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. McKinnon?
we had spoke about, on the last foot race, about having, just let
Keeping it
the
clean.
sponsors know that they have to police the area.
Okay.
We make sure that they, can I take the wind out of your sails?
Excellent job.
Great minds working. So we're going to just make sure that the sponsors are.
Why don't we just make that part of the motion?
Absolutely.
So we've got an amendment to motion.
Second.
All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Amendment passes. Now we're voting on the motion to approve the road race. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Oh, you want to speak?
I was just going to say, they run right by my house. They did it last year. It was a nice little road race. My daughter and I were out there clapping them, cheering
You
them
want
on.
running?
I wasn't running. Maybe I'll do it this year. We'll see.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous.
I've been training for the canoe race right now. You going to join me this year?
Me?
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind?
I second that.
I went on I think we were on vacation in New Hampshire. They wanted to rent canoes. I wasn't on that river 2 minutes. The canoe was in the water, so was my $600 camera. That's the last time I'm going canoeing. Very expensive sport.
You're not supposed to fall out of those.
Nah, I know. What can I do? Next item is a vote only if we object to a Keno license for the Boston Tavern at 58 East Grove Street. Is there any objection to granting the Boston Tavern a Keno license?
No objection.
Don't hear anything, so I don't think...
You want to table this?
Excuse me?
You want to just table this, man? Or
I don't think we have to vote on anything. This is just, if we have objections, we would vote to object, but
State issue, yeah.
we don't have to vote to approve.
You have the right to say so.
All right.
Okay.
We're moving right along tonight. That's good. Under hearings, licenses, and meetings, this is a discussion by Howard Perkins. I believe Howie's with us this evening. I don't think, this time isn't required. It's not an official license or a hearing. It's just a presentation, so I don't think we'll have to abide by it. I believe I'm okay on this one.
There's no vote.
Am I okay on this one, Jane? I'm okay on this one, aren't I? Thank you.
Like, what are they going to do, throw you off the board?
I'll go anywhere for this. Howie, thank you. Thank you for coming, and you want to talk to us a little bit about the Mass Conservation Camp scholarships that are sponsored by the Middleborough Rod and Gun Club. So
Close.
I
It's,
pronounced that name, but I butchered it. So
Okay,
I'll
it's-
let you do it.
Juan Kinko Rod and Gun Club, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, our club actually sponsors and buys camper ships to Mass Junior Conservation Camp. We bought 6. We've filled 5, so we have 1 opening. So that's why I'm here tonight, is just to let the public know that, we have 1 camper ship to Mass Junior Conservation Camp, and we'd like to send someone to the camp. So, thank you for allowing me to speak. And let me tell you a little bit about the camp. Camp, according to their website, and this is right off their website, offers a balanced program of conservation, education, and instruction in outdoor recreational activities. Camp was founded in 1949 for boys and girls between the age of 13 and 17 who enjoy the outdoor and want to learn more about the environment. This year's camp runs between August 4th and August 16th. It'll be held in Chesterfield, Mass. A large portion of the instruction is hands-on, and they claim the happiest campers are those who are interested in the outdoors and wildlife management. If anyone interested, you can learn more about the camp at their website, which is www.juniorconservationcamp.org. The Wankinko Rod and Gun Club, as I said, has already reserved the spots, and we're looking for boys and girls interested in attending the camp. If you have a child, grandchild, niece, or nephew who would like to be considered, we ask that you contact our youth advisor. His name is Michael Houdelet, and his phone number, and he gave me permission to give out his cell phone number.
Everybody call him tonight.
Everybody call tonight, right. And the phones are open. The phone number is 508-273-6033. We're asking anybody interested, please call before April 22nd. The deadline for us to submit names is May 1st. It's going to be on first come, first serve, so the first one to reach Mike will be the first one to fill that slot. Mike will need your name, address, and telephone number, along with the name of the child to be considered. Alternately, we have a meeting of the youth group tomorrow night, so if you'd like to go down to the club in South Middleborough, meet Mike, see the kids in the program, and submit your name, you're welcome to attend the meeting tomorrow night.
So what takes place at this camp? What do the kids do for us? Is it 1 week or 2 weeks?
It's a 2-week camp.
Overnight camp?
Yes, yep. You drop off on August 4th. You pick them back up on August 16th. They actually have a presentation on the 16th, so you'll be there for a few hours. Enjoy it. Chesterfield is a beautiful area. My son went to this camp, and so I enjoyed going out and watching. What do they cover? There's boating out there. There's archery out there. They'll actually come home with basic education, firearm safety education. They'll have their boating certificate. So it's all run in partnership with the Mass Division of Fisheries and Wildlife.
And maybe you mentioned this. How old are the kids that are allowed to apply for this scholarship or sponsorship?
Yeah, the kids in attendance have to be between the age of 13 and 17. Okay?
Great.
So
Thanks for
please,
coming.
yes.
Board members have any questions?
It's 2 weeks. They have to be 13 to 17. It's from August 4th to August 16th. You guys are already paying for it?
It's already paid for.
Can I go?
Well, you almost look young enough.
It's not the age you are acting. It's your actual age.
I'm a
And I will tell you, most of the canoes stay upright.
It's not. I think Mass Wildlife does a ton of programs. Most of them are for free. I've taken all their hunter education classes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've never taken a bad class. Everything that they do is top notch. Yeah, I wish my kids were old enough. I'd be calling Mike right now.
Well, just keep it in mind, we do it every year. Yep, so we're happy to
Is this
send.
only for Middleborough residents?
No, we have no restrictions on this at all. The only restrictions is what's placed on by Mass Junior Conservation Camp.
Okay.
Okay? So if I could repeat it again, please give Mike Houdelet a call. If you have a child interested, 508-273-6033.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. It sounds like a real worthwhile program. Thanks.
Mr. Perkins.
Hey, Howard, we got another question.
Sorry, Steve, I ran away too fast.
Yeah. Everybody does that up there. What time is your meeting tomorrow night at the club?
6:30.
6:30?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Bless you.
Thanks again. The other two items under hearings and meetings have to be held at the appropriate time. So we're going to move down to correspondence. We'll start with Alan.
All right. Let's see. The DEP's offering grants for recycling. I'm sure that Andy's aware of that.
I think we're sent off to Andy.
All right, beautiful. I just got to find it now. The Mass Gaming Commission is asking for our opinion on their Phase 2 regulations. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble finding the thing.
Number 5.
Page 5?
Well, it's number 5.
Yeah.
You want my hard copy?
Yeah.
Want to read
All right, I got it. Sorry. So the Mass Gaming Commission's approved their set of draft Phase 2 regulations for the purposes of commencing the process towards final promulgation. There are 2 parts that comprise the draft: an update to the existing regulations and the new regulations governing the Phase 2 licensing progress. The problem is we don't have an opportunity to address this because they're not talking about licenses for Region C yet. But there was a discussion at their last meeting about opening up Region C to commercial interests, and after a very lengthy discussion, they decided they were going to give it 2 more weeks. So if anybody has any comments for or against or whatever, you have 2 weeks to send it in to the Mass Gaming Commission to let them know your opinion on whether or not they should open up Region C to a commercial license. I believe it's a parallel track, so the tribe will still have their opportunity, and if they can ever get a compact signed. But and the commercial licenses will have an opportunity as well. So if you have an opinion on that and you think Mass Gaming would be interested in it, you have 2 weeks to do that. Until then, we're in the state of limbo with this whole Phase 2 regulations, because we don't know if it's going to apply to us yet. But it's a very important process. It will have dramatic effects on the southeastern Massachusetts area. So if you have an opinion on it, God knows I do, but if you have an opinion, this is a good opportunity to send your opinions into the commission.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's it for me for correspondence.
Steve?
Yes, the MBTA Advisory Board report is in here. The MBTA is short, I don't know, looks like $100 million.
Yeah.
Something like that, 110.
118 million.
118 million. Now, they're already using money out of sales tax, real estate. When you do a registry of deeds, money comes out of that and gets funneled into the MBTA. Transportation money, gas tax money, is being funneled into the MBTA. And they're going up $100 million this year in their budget. So that becomes the black hole of tax money. It just gets sucked into that place. It never leaves. And they're talking about cutting services to some of their less efficient lines, mostly bus routes, from the sounds of it. But they also want to expand the program. They want to go up north, Malden and Medford or something like that. 2 different branches. So they want to expand their program when they don't make enough money to cover their program. They want to put new lines in when their old lines are falling apart. It doesn't sound to me like they've got a full grasp on the situation in there. And all they're doing is throwing more money at it. And that is going to impact what we get for roads and highways. And they're going to want to the governor's trying to put together a $2 million package and a $2 $200 million package, $2 billion, I don't know.
2 billion.
Huge, $2 billion. And then the state, the Senate and the House want to put together a $500 million package. They're just, it frustrates me that they just keep taking tax money, but they don't look at the waste and the problems that they've got. And then there's got to be a lot of waste. When we're talking billions of dollars, things start to disappear. And, until they get their waste under control, how do they expect people to support tax money? I mean, I want everybody to make a fair wage working on these construction projects, but it can't be, they can't be making gold out there. We don't have the gold to give. And that sounds odd when I'm sitting here supporting a police station in our town, a lot of equipment purchases in our town, a sewer treatment plant refurb in our town. But that's something you can touch. You can get on. You can see that. You've got it right here. It's servicing you. And I don't mind paying that tax. It really annoys me when I hear things like this. This one guy who retired from the MBTA at 43 years old, making $100,000 a year retired. Now, I know that's a stressful job, but really? We get cops, we have to make them work till 62, 63. Want a 63-year-old cop running down the street chasing a bad guy? I mean, they'll do it because that's the kind of thing they do. But you want a 63-year-old, you want me climbing a ladder to rescue you out of a building? I don't want me climbing a ladder to rescue me out of a building. And yet, you got that kind of thing happening in Boston, and it's, we just need 100 million more. It's got to stop. We don't have it.
Yeah, I think I attended a couple of these advisory board meetings, and most of the people attending them, as you can imagine, are from the communities representing Boston or right around Boston, who get a lot of service from the MBTA, and who rely on the MBTA to get to and from work. There are a few towns there represented by the rapid transit, which Middleborough and Lakeville are, but most of them are the inner city communities or suburbs, direct suburbs of Boston. And the problem with their budget is that they're trying to expand the line while they can't maintain their existing service or their existing equipment. They need to make that tough choice. This is not the time, even though it may be a good idea. I'm not sure it is, but it may be a good idea, but you've got to make choices. They've got to maintain what they've got until they figure out a long-term financial strategy for the MBTA, and no one seems to be stepping up to that, either in terms of fare increases or a revenue source dedicated to support the MBTA. But until that happens, this is going to go on and on and on. These short-term fixes to cut service and raise fares, and they'll do it again this year, will only solve the problem for this year. And next year, they'll be looking at the same problem, another $100 million or so in deficit. So this is a never-ending problem until somebody steps up and tries to set priorities and address the long-term financial strategy for this service. So anyway, that's the MBTA.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Quell?
I'm good.
You're good? As you remember, I just have one item, I'm trying to find it. This could take me a while. Be patient. We have time to kill. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill it just trying to find this thing. I'll get to, here it is. The MMA sent out an alert on the new proposal being proposed by both the Senate and the House on a transportation bill. This is something the board talked about a couple of times. They're coming up with kind of a reduced, more focused, increased tax package than the governor's proposal of $2 billion, which is basically more income tax, more sales tax, more gasoline tax, just about everything that he could touch, he touched. This one, the idea here, as first presented to us, was to come up with some targeted revenue, $500 million in targeted tax increases to support an increase in Chapter 90 money, and to accelerate the need to improve our infrastructure, our roads and bridges. And at the time, that was just a concept. And now they're kind of focusing in on what they intend to do here. The part that bothers me is they're also targeting about $80 million of this new increase to go to the MBTA. And so I don't really care for that proposal. And most of this tax revenue, I think as I read it, would come from an increase in gasoline tax to do this. So I think the board needs to take a look at this closely before we send our letter off as to whether to support this increase or not to support. But at some point here, the board is going to have to reconsider this or take a look at it and decide whether we want to support this or not. That is all I had. And it still isn't quite 7:40.
Did they, unlike the governor's plan, my question to you is, did they give a figure on what they're looking to, the legislature, what they're looking to increase that gas tax by? I believe the governor's was about 15 cents.
A gas tax?
Well, increase to the gas tax of 15 cents. Does
Yes.
the legislature counter with a different proposal for what
Yes.
they would look to?
Yes, it is. It's in here somewhere. 50% talking about a $300 million increase in Chapter 90 money, $80 million for the MBTA, and an accelerated, the balance would be an accelerated funding for investing in new projects statewide for roads and bridges. I thought it was in here. But my understanding is it's all going to be funded by an increase in gas tax.
Well, the governor's
proposal, this is a much smaller version.
yeah.
This is not the governor's proposal.
No, I just didn't know if it was a
The
small.
governor's proposal is much broader, much larger tax increase, and I think it touches just about every tax that's controlled by the state in order to raise this. It's at least $1 billion, maybe more.
You're talking the MMA proposal?
Excuse me?
The MMA?
Yeah, this is the MMA supports this proposal,
Yeah.
and this is the one, the state, the House and the Senate's proposal.
It's this quirky thing with the MMA. They embrace a $300 million for Chapter 90 funds, which is good. The plan includes $500 million in targeted taxes and $250 million in agency revenues. Well, agency revenues are nothing more than service fees, which are nothing more than taxes. So when you go to the registry, they increase your fee. That goes to the state. The state takes in $750 million and gives back $300 million. Bad trade. It's just...
Well, it is a double-edged
Okay.
sword. I mean,
So moving on, and I don't know where we go from here. Charlie is still in the Finance Committee meeting. First hearing is at 7:40. We still have 5 more minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes?
2 minutes by the
2
iPod.
minutes.
Yep.
Now, you want to talk about the fish some more?
I like the idea of a 50% increase in Chapter 90 money, though. I mean,
Well, yeah, we
I've said
could
this
use that
before.
too. We could use that too.
I don't think there's too many towns in the Commonwealth who have more roads than we do.
No, it certainly would help.
Yeah,
And we're not going to make any progress on
I
our
mean, Mr.
infrastructure.
McKinnon makes a great point, though. I mean, 750 million in revenue and taxes. They're giving us back a little more than 300 million, but we're not getting the 750 back.
And you can't overlook the fact that, in order to get to these trains, you have to use municipal roads to get there. So they still have to pound on our roads in order to get to the parking to take the train. So, I understand, but it really doesn't appear that they are just, financially penalizing you for using your car. But at the same time, they're raising fares on the train, so it's like, you can't get away from this.
Well,
We're
we
being
can't-
financially penalized for the rotary being in our town. Every fender bender is our emergency services going down there. We pay for that. The people who are driving from points east and points west crash into each other in our town, and then we have to pay for it, and the state says, oh, the Rotary's just fine, you guys are way on the list, and everybody's got these problems, and we got a study from 2010, and wait a minute, Cisco wasn't here in 2010? They didn't even know that Cisco was here before this, after their study was completed.
Well, and it's, every scrap of good that goes into that place arrives by way of an over-the-road trucker who uses our rotary. I mean, probably maybe 3% of what goes into that warehouse comes down Route 3. Everything goes around our rotary.
Sure.
And you're not seeing this because it happens like 3 in the morning. But we're talking about some serious hundreds and hundreds of over-the-road truckers go pounding into that place every day. So it's not just their trucks that are rolling in and out of there. It's everything that's supplied into that warehouse. And it's going to start taking its toll real fast. We cannot wait to 2018 to start hearing about what's going to happen. You're going to start seeing some serious degradation on that roadway and 44 prior to that. And there's no plan right now. So,
Well, I
more
think-
good news.
I think the problem is, everybody's aware of the fact that our infrastructure is falling apart. No one's doing anything to address it. We all talk about, there's got to be plenty of money in the state budget somewhere to do this. But believe me, nobody up there has the intestinal fortitude to go out there and make those hard calls to eliminate some programs and divert them back to our infrastructure. So the only way this thing is going to be, and I hate to, the only way this thing is going to be fixed short-term is to find a dedicated revenue source addressing our infrastructure. That's the only way this thing is going to be addressed short-term, unless you have some type of major coup at the State House level, and I don't see that happening short-term, so.
Al, are you going to run for governor?
No. This was it. I had fun doing it.
I'll hold a sign for you.
Yes, that's okay, but thank you.
We're both.
741.
No, I will not serve, and I will not run. It's now 7:40. We have a hearing. I don't have a hearing notice, but this is a hearing before the Health Board to appeal a decision made by our Health Department on a property located at 19 Plymouth Street, owned by Joyce Ryan. So the way we're going to handle this is, Gene, I'm going to allow you to present the case, your side of the story, and then we'll ask Mr. Ryan to come up and have her say on the matter.
I'm Jean Spalding with the Health Department. This is Jessica Gardner, Health Inspector.
Good evening, welcome.
And Jessica handled the original housing inspection for this property, so she'll bring you up to date on what the housing inspection.
Okay.
Currently, all the violations have been corrected from the letter dated January 22nd, 2013,
So they've all been corrected at this point?
except for the few that I have on the new order letter.
Okay, so they've all been corrected. Is that what you're telling me? Except
Except for some of the outstanding violations that we've allowed an extension on for
Okay.
90 days. As of March 27, 2013. Those violations are, there's a few pipes extending from the ground that have an unknown source.
And you granted an extension on that one?
Yes,
What time? How long?
90 days.
90 days, okay? Is that, I'm sorry to keep, and I'll promise to
That's okay.
shut up until you finish. Is the extensions for all these open issues, are they all 90 days?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No, good, I'll stop.
That's okay.
I'll try.
Areas of pooled water on the cement flooring throughout the basement. Exterior of dwelling has evidence of wear and weather-worn structural elements, including but not limited to deteriorating wood shingles and chipping paint on the trim boards and windows. And also, we're requiring a Title V inspection for this dwelling.
Also the what?
For the dwelling, a Title V inspection?
Oh, Title V inspection.
Yeah, to get an update on the existing cesspool.
Okay. Can I ask why the inspection was done?
It was done because this is a rental unit, and all of the information that we have in our files at the moment indicate that this is a single-family home, and it has at some point become a two-family.
Was the home enlarged in any way?
No.
Are there still the same number of bedrooms in the total unit as before?
That is unknown.
So you don't
I only
know?
went into the one dwelling unit. I did not go into the second.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why we had added the Title V inspection is because the information that we have under the code indicates that if you change the use, i.e. a use going from a single family to a multifamily, or an increase in size, an increase in use, then we will often request to look at the septic, get a Title V inspection to make sure the septic is adequate.
Okay.
In addition, it was noted that it was the laundry discharge, right?
Yes, the laundry, it was supposedly the washer unit was draining through one of the pipes onto the property. The washer unit has been disconnected at this time, but the occupant still states there's liquid drainage from the pipe, so we'd like to know what the source of that would be.
But you've given her 90 days to fix that particular problem.
So the
Okay.
additional concern is that gray water from laundry systems is supposed to be piped into a septic, and the information we have is that this was possibly on a cesspool, and we're assuming that since the piping is not piped into the septic, that it cannot handle the gray water from the laundry system.
Okay. The primary reason, though, that you're ordering the Title V inspection is because there's a change in use, because there's no indication because of the size of the building or the number of bedrooms being increased.
Because it's being used as a multi-family as compared to a single
Are
family.
both sides occupied?
Yes. And because of the laundry discharge.
Okay, but you're giving her 90 days to fix the laundry discharge. I just want to try to get, so if she hooks her laundry discharge up to her current septic system, that issue goes away.
No, as far as the Title V inspection, that's one of the concerns, is that perhaps this system, the cesspool, can't handle the laundry discharge.
Is that the current septic system is a cesspool? Or is it
For a single.
or is it a septic system?
Yes.
That's cesspool.
Yes.
How old is the house?
1961.
Okay. Anything else?
And perhaps you'd like to hear from the owner.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Not at this time.
Did any of the board members have questions of the health agent? Ben?
If these things don't get corrected, what's the status of the tenant and their rights? I mean, you can't just displace these tenants if the
No, we end up
landlord...
going to court.
Right, okay. So you can't just say, I'm
If
sorry.
there's continued violations, yes.
Okay. So they're not in jeopardy being,
No.
sorry, you
no,
gotta
no,
leave because...
no.
Okay.
The only time we would do something like that is if there was severe violations that imminent health threat was present, and then an immediate relocation would generally occur, and it's only until that immediate threat is corrected, and then the occupant can go back in. Very rarely do we condemn a facility to the point that somebody has moved out like that.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I think it's happened. I think I've done it maybe once. So now there's always mitigation,
Any other board member have questions? I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off
No,
there.
no.
Steve?
Anything else, Ben?
No, I don't.
You said that the washer was disconnected, so that's not a problem anymore.
Hypothetically. According to the occupant, he's still saying there's drainage coming from the pipes of an unknown source. So part of the order letter that was sent on March 27, 2013 is, states that, let me just find it. Owner must provide documentation that the pipes are not being used for drainage to be in compliance with State Sanitary Code 410-351, owner's installation and maintenance responsibilities, A and B.
Did you witness any
I did
fluids
not.
coming out of this pipe?
I did not witness any fluids coming out of the pipe.
Okay, so you did the inspection
Yes.
twice. You did the original
And then
inspection, then a backup.
re-inspection, yes.
And you did not witness any
No.
fluids coming out of the
Second
pipe?
time. The first time, you noticed.
It was
You wanted
trickling
to
something the first time, but the second time, no. There's also indentation in ground, like a little trail, like as if there's...
Indentation.
Right.
Right.
Which could come from anything, but it was from the pipe going down and pooling in an area. But it was also raining that day.
Right. It was raining that day.
Yeah, on the re-inspection.
And you also mentioned deteriorated shingles?
The outside of the dwelling unit is, has chipping paint, deteriorated wood shingles. I have some pictures of
It's about 80% of the housing in Middleborough has that. No, my house has that. What are you going to do, come down and have a Title V inspection on my house too? Because I have chipping, I mean, look at the central cafe, half the wall's missing.
Right, but the occupant called for an inspection, and that's in violation of the state housing code.
Okay.
So it's different if it's a rental unit
Yeah.
and a private home.
If it's a rental.
Ben, you have another question?
As far as Title V, again, the capacities are obviously, the capacity requirements for a cesspool obviously are different for a multifamily than
Yes.
for a single family, and this is really at the root of the issue here.
Correct.
Okay.
You know, in, this is something something standard that we would look at regardless, you know, especially in this area. We've got a lot of failures in this area. Soils are tough, you know, in some of the sections of this area in North Middleborough. It would be pretty much standard if we came across this on any system. We did meet with the owners in our office and explained to them that this was a standard request, that we would be looking for a Title V inspection because of, you know, the multifamily use and all. And if it had gone through a permit process of doing a multifamily, it would have been a required upgrade at that time. Because multifamilies under the code are required to have a 2-compartment tank along with the leaching area and all. This has nothing. This has, to our understanding, it has just strictly a cesspool.
Okay.
And-
So if I
And
just
at
saw,
this time, even a cesspool can pass a Title V inspection in this town. Most towns have it up
Yeah.
by local regulation. We do not have that local regulation at this point.
no, that's what I was getting at. I mean, to move into multifamily, bottom line is cesspools don't cut it anymore. If you're going to start renting or making a,
Yeah.
So you're gonna start renting property,
Under the code, it requires a
you're at a
2-compartment
cesspool
tank.
rate, okay.
Was there any visible signs that the septic system has failed?
No. Correct?
No. No odor and no seepage, nothing like that?
No.
Al? Oh, Mr.
Go ahead.
Chairman. If the pipe that's coming out of the house for the washer, for the gray water, if the washing machine's not on, it's not gonna,
That's correct.
right. And is this, well, 2 questions. If there's a 90-day, you're given a 90-day extension, I guess? So-
For the final repairs, yeah.
All right, so I don't really know what we're supposed to do then.
Well, this was strictly, the applicants have requested a hearing before the board in regards to our request for a Title V inspection.
Oh,
So they're
okay.
coming
All right.
to the board for relief from that, so if you'd like to hear from the applicants.
Sure, just one more question. Is this, is this a problem between the tenant and the landlord? Is that how this came about?
The-
Yeah.
Yes,
Ah.
the tenant called and requested inspection.
All right.
Do you know, that's okay, I'll wait for that one. I'll ask the owner of the property that question. Go ahead.
Real quick, Mr. Chair, can I just get a no later than date for what's, for right now? The extension.
What's your deadline for
Your deadline.
the extension?
It would be 90 days from March 27th. I didn't put a date down, but it would be 90 days from the receipt of her obtaining the letter.
First week of July?
July 27th,
Mhm.
April, May, June
June.
27th.
June, okay, let's just roll with that for now. All right.
It's close, they round, numbers, they round.
All right. End of June.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi,
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Joyce Reiner, the owner at 19 Plymouth Street. My main discussion point on the septic system is that there's no objective evidence to suggest that the system is not working properly. There's no odor, there's no seepage, there's no backup, and a mere unsubstantiated complaint from an occupant who happens to be a family member and who is in the process of being evicted without any other evidence should not be enough to trigger demand for an inspection. And it pretty much sets a negative precedent for other landlords in town, and certainly a hardship for me as an owner and others. I'm also working with Barbara Erickson on the assessment of this. To our knowledge, this home has been assessed as a single-family home. It was built in 1951, 62 years ago, and it remains in its current footprint. There's been no changes to the structure. And it has been used throughout the years for extended family when needed. This was my father's house, and who is since deceased. And again, it exists in its original footprint. Items in the January Board of Health letter were eliminated, many of the items, simply because the building inspector said the house was grandfathered in and there was no record of the original plans and structure on record because it's been so long ago. He actually went with the inspector to the property, saw the original cast iron plumbing, and agrees that it's always been that way. There's been no changes to the property. So other than the septic issue, all the other issues in the letter have been addressed. When we talk about the weathering shingles, we had planned for a contractor to come and re-shingle and do all of that anyways, and so I'm just waiting for a date on that. And everything else has been complied with. Again, the Board of Health argument I keep being told is that I've changed the structure and use, but I really haven't. And furthermore, I don't want to be a landlord. The occupants, who again are family members, have refused to vacate the property, and they have delayed their move by insisting on a trial at housing court. They filed the complaint with the Board of Health the middle of January, following a January 7th mediation appeal they made that they had agreed to try to delay the move. It's not uncommon that happens in housing court, I'm told over and over again. Many other towns, such as Plymouth, when a tenant or an occupant comes before them with a letter of complaint, they ask them if they're in the process of being evicted, and if they are, they put aside that complaint until that's resolved. The issue here has to do with the fact that I've asked them to leave, and they don't want to. They came to live there because they were faced with a foreclosure and pleaded with me to reside there for a while, and I allowed that.
Now, it sounds like it's kind of like a duplex, is it?
It's always structured there. There's a wall right down the middle of the house.
So is it both sides being occupied today?
There is.
Both family members?
My son lived in the house after my father died with his roommate, and he's been serving in the military since. And his roommate has remained there. So the plan has always been that my son and I would fix up the house and we'd reside there. In the future, he wanted to keep the family
Keep it in
home
the
with the
family.
family.
The only issue I see here is the other issues seem minor in nature to me, other than the washing machine being hooked up and this Title V inspection issue. Has the washing machine now been hooked up to your septic system, or is that going to be done?
No, actually, we offered to remove all of that, and the Board of Health asked me to hold off and resolve it with the septic system. There doesn't need to be a washer there, but I would hook it up and put it through the septic if that's what was so deemed. There's nothing leaking. There was a French drain and there was some, what do you call it? A leaching field, or I guess it was a leaching field with the French drain. And that's probably part of the pipe over the years. I don't know if that's what it is or has come up, but I would gladly correct that. Again, I want to keep it as a single family. I don't want to be a landlord. I want these folks to leave. It was not my intention that it was to be used as a multifamily residence.
So your intention is to have your son come back to this home when he's out of the military, serving in the military, to come back and this will be a single-family home for him?
That's correct. And there is, I grew up in the house, so
Right.
there are less people living there today than there was in 1951.
Same number of bedrooms?
Same number of bedrooms.
Same number?
Nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
Then you'll comply with all the other issues set forth in this inspection letter?
That is my agreement.
So you're coming before this board to ask that the request for a Title V inspection be withdrawn?
That's
from
correct.
this order?
That's correct.
The rest of it you'll deal with?
Yes.
Okay. Board members have any questions?
What legal status does this family member have to be in the house at all?
I allowed them to occupy it.
Okay. But there's nothing, okay.
The problem is that they refused to vacate, so I've had to go to housing court. And it's been extended a couple of times because they insisted on a full trial. So we're waiting for the final judgment.
You're not collecting rent from them, they just pay their way?
The last payment that I received, they're way behind. But the last payment, I mean, I always sign them for occupant use and not for rent. I'm signing them that way. But they are still way behind, and in the last letter from the housing court, it's so listed that they owe, and they've agreed to it in housing court that they owe money.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we have a little discussion here. I'll go last. Anybody want to start?
Well, being that this is an eviction proceeding going on, there wouldn't be any, wouldn't even be here if there was an eviction proceeding going on. So if there's no apparent problem with the septic system, I don't see any reason why we could hold that in advance, pull that out. But, keep that going.
Mr. Quell?
I just need more evidence that this is truly a multifamily home.
This is what?
That this is truly a multifamily home, and we have more of an extended family who's been helping, pay their way while living in the house, and now they refuse to leave. But I didn't hear about leases or anything like that that would really make me feel like this is a true, multifamily home.
Well, the home has always.
So it's a single
I'll let the
family.
owner speak. Why don't you get clarification? You want?
Well, no, I would say I didn't hear anything like this is actually being run like we would consider a multifamily type operation. This is just some, family members that are sort of squatting at this point, but I don't, I can't look at this, right now, I can't look at this as a multifamily home.
Okay. Alan?
I'm having a similar train of thought as Mr. Quell. I don't know if it's really been converted to a two-family, especially if it's going to be or revert back to a single family as soon as they get these people out of there. It doesn't seem, if there was more evidence, I guess, to substantiate that this was an active two-family house, I would certainly move forward or want to move forward with the Title V inspection on the fact that it's now a two-family, and when the use gets changed, it should be inspected. But I don't think it really has changed. It's like I don't think we should add to the problem. Like, no good deed goes unpunished. We shouldn't compound that punishment. Especially, I mean, the owner certainly seems willing and cooperative on all the other fronts, so.
Well, I said I'd speak last, and I guess I will. First of all, the fact that this is in the process of an eviction, I don't think it's proper for this board to step in right now, or the health department to step in right now and issue this Title V inspection, or to conduct the inspection at all. Now, maybe they had to conduct the inspection. I'm not sure about that, but clearly this is a disgruntled tenant who wants to get back at the owner. I've seen this 3 times now since I've been on the board. It is really difficult for me to understand why we constantly put these requests on the private property owners. We need to be very careful when we promulgate regulations and bylaws. Every one of these creeps in on the rights of the private property owner, every one of them. Some of them for good reason, good cause. We all want the betterment of the good, what's best for the greater good here, but we need to be careful. And I think this is one time where we've kind of overextended our authority and a little bit premature in asking for a Title V inspection at this point. This is, like I said before, we wouldn't be here if this tenant wasn't in the process of being evicted. We have a property owner here where this property has been in the family for a very long time. The intent is to have her son, this be converted back to a single family as soon as her son gets back from military service. I think we should allow this to happen. And if it continues to be a multifamily, then maybe come back after the eviction has been settled and see what happens to this property. But I think it's premature right now to order a Title V inspection. I think all the other items in this letter should be addressed and corrected, but I would be in favor of eliminating the requirement for a Title V inspection at this time. Any other comments from the board? What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to remove the Title V requirement from this order.
Second.
A motion and a second to remove the Title V inspection requirement. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. The letter in general stands except for the Title V inspection. Thank you. 7:50. We have a public hearing on the special town meeting warrant and the annual town meeting warrant. This board has reviewed every warrant on both the special and annual town meeting. We voted our support or non-support on each article. The purpose of this meeting is to allow the public to come forward and ask any questions they might have regarding these warrants. So with that, I notice that our moderator is standing before me. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As town moderator, I'd just like to do my semi-annual pitch and remind everybody out there that 2 weeks from tonight, the 22nd of April, is our annual town meeting. And I'd ask everybody out there who's a registered voter to come out to the high school, 7 o'clock that night, and help us do the business of the town. Under our town meeting form of government, you folks in front of me are the executive branch of our government, but everybody who is a registered voter in this town is actually the legislative body. And it's what they say at town meeting that becomes the law of the land in our town. So, 2 weeks from tonight, folks, come on out and do the business of the town. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd second that comment. It's important. It's an important town meeting, as they all are. I urge every resident of Middleborough to show up and participate in the town meeting. With that, do we have any comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
This was your
to.
last town meeting with us. Are you?
Yeah, this will be the last chance to get at me if you want to at the town meeting, but I think we have one more regular meeting after that. Town meeting's the 22nd, we have another meeting scheduled for the 29th. So you can come right here in this very small little audience and get back at me if you'd like.
Weren't you going to offer us all lobster dinners? Wasn't that the, didn't you say you were going to offer?
That was
us all-
surf and turf.
Surf and turf.
Surf and turf.
Steaks.
There's a joint called McDonald's.
Get a fillet of fish and a
No,
hamburger.
the
and you're out
Central
of
would
there.
be nice. You could go to the Central. Does anyone wish to speak on special town meeting articles or annual town meeting articles? Anybody have any? Come on down.
Mr. Chairman, Jane Lowe speaking as the Historical Commission Chairman. Not about the articles, but I just want everybody to know that from time to time, the Historical Commission gives preservation awards to people who do take significant steps to preserve historic buildings in town. And we are going to make presentations this year at the town meeting. We thought that would be a nice thing to do, and to recognize these people in front of their fellow townspeople. And one of them is actually from Plymouth, but owns property in town. And we also thought that it might be a way to get some more people, different people, to town meeting. And so just before town meeting action on the warrant begins, on the special town meeting, we will just briefly make these presentations, show photographs before and after, like old photographs and today photographs of the buildings, and present these awards to 4 property owners.
Another reason to attend the annual meeting.
Right.
That's great. You going to be serving popcorn?
No.
No.
Lobsters?
Thank you, Jane. Anybody seen our missing town manager, so we can get him in here to do the town manager's report? It's the only item we have left in the open session.
Mr. Chair, if I could just make just a
Sure,
couple
Mr.
comments.
Quell.
I think this is a great time for us to, going into town meeting, to recognize everybody other than ourselves, if you could, starting with the town manager, to the department heads, to all the committees that are full of citizen volunteers, from CPA to capital planning, school committee, finance committee. You know, when you look at this warrant, you have to agree that every single taxpayer dollar was scrutinized over multiple times. And it really is, I think, the nicest layer of government you see when it comes to finances, the municipal side, because we really do try and spend every dollar as smartly as we can. And I can tell you that just from hearing from all these different committees, that they really took a look at every other option and tried to come up with the most feasible and economical plan in spending money. So hopefully we get a lot of people out to town meeting, because a lot of thought's gone into this warrant by other people. I'd just like to see as many citizens as possible come out and put their 2 cents into it, because it really does matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you. I had to meet with
You're
the Finance
the
Committee and
last-
talk
you-
about the budget, so.
You have the last item on the open session of the meeting, so.
My report?
Yep, town manager's report.
Just wanted to let you know that the good news is that, you know, from FEMA, or MEMA, is optimistic that we've met the thresholds to request a major disaster declaration for public assistance, snow assistance, and he'll be filing that, the governor will be filing that before April 11th, so that was positive. We were hoping that would happen. That will allow us to get some reimbursement for the blizzard. And they also report that they didn't meet the threshold on the coastal storm. The coastal storm really didn't impact us. So hopefully we will be seeing some reimbursement for the blizzard.
Do we ever see a number put on the cost for the blizzard?
Yeah, and I just don't have it. I can get it from
Okay.
Lance. He's been coordinating that. I should have gotten it today. I didn't, but I will for next week. And just also an announcement that Stacy Ames will be taking over as landfill monitor. Dick Pelletier, who'd been there for a number of years, has retired. So Stacy will replace him. And that's all I have.
Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to move into executive session, not to return to open session, for the purpose of collective bargaining, all bargaining units, pending litigation, and review of executive session minutes for possible release to the public. Discussing these matters in public would jeopardize the town.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. This requires a roll call vote. Mr. McKinnon?
Yes.
Mr. Quelch?
Yes?
Chair votes yes. Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
Thank you. We're now in executive session.